Hey guys, it's me, it's Michael B. Happy Monday night. Tonight we're going to do something completely different. We don't really have like a topic about something that's currently going on, but we kind of do because we're going to talk about the life cycle of home arcade. This is something that I personally have become fascinated with, actually overwhelmed with, and it's changed my entire game collecting and game owning landscape, as I'm sure it's done for a lot of other people, especially during the pandemic where people weren't spending money going out to restaurants, going on vacations, going other places. They had more expendable income and they decided to spend more money to stay inside. So home arcade grew exponentially with Arcade1Up leading the way, iiRcade coming on strong, and AtGames chugging along. So tonight we're going to talk about home arcade. Is it a trend, which means it's going to stay for a while, or is it a fad, something that's just a blip on the radar? And then we'll talk about how long this life cycle is going to last. Anyways, thank you very much for joining me tonight. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. All right, guys, so I just want to bring up the chat here and say hello to everybody who's just joined. I'm wondering if P-Dubs didn't send some people my way. He seems like a good guy that would do that. Charlie Chuck, Tuesday, Monday time. What's happening, brother? Bobby Timson, Sterling Hall. Hey, Michael. Sterling's always the best. Zero Hero, Music Mike, JR, C-Mart, the Centertainer. Good evening, gamers. Garage Gamer, Jeff Walsh. We got Hobby Hands, who's a Michael of the Michael B. OnlyFans. I really got to change the name on my channel membership piece. That was an old joke that is a little dated now, I guess. Andy's Game Room, Raymond Reed, Mark 1915, Biggie's D's Arcade, Sockscade. Hey, Sockscade, how's it going? It's nice talking to you the other night. Coach Jangles, Dan Z, Steve Ramey, Matt Astra Gaming, Dwayne Zapane, Nick Gamble, Andy's Game Room, Made in Canada, Sling Spade, Bob Wife, Digipunk, Chris Langlois, 93, and Mike Dalton. My buddy Mike Dalton got his four iiRcade machines today. He ordered all four. Unfortunately, they accidentally sent him a second Black Edition Double Dragon instead of his Space Invader, so hopefully they get that fixed out for him soon. We've also got Asthmatic, Mike Hawk Hertz saying hello to Nostalgia, the Tinkerer, One Up Kyle, Bird. My God, there's so many people here. Al Evickman, Jamie Loken, Digipunk, Stupid Fat Hobbit, Jason M, Tim Waite, Biggest Party Ever, Kongs Are Us, that's what I'm talking about, Frank Bell, Chris Zeke, MSU Rich. Anyways, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting for too long. Let's get to the main topic tonight. Oh, there's my buddy Papa Bread. What's happening, Papa Bread? So tonight we're going to be talking about, is this whole home arcade business a stream or a fad? So the best way to get started is to look at what a definition is, I guess. I know it's a stream, so you want super excitement. So let's talk about definitions. So I looked this up earlier today. I'm a business student, business graduate, so I should know this off the top of my head, but of course I don't. So I went to this website, Design Pool, and it says, what's the difference between a trend and a fad? According to Cambridge Dictionary, a trend is defined as a general development or change in a situation or in the way that people are behaving. On the other hand, a fad is a style, activity, or interest that is very popular for a short period of time. So that's really the question I want to ask. Are we looking at a shift in the gaming landscape where owning these home arcades is becoming a more normal thing? People are able to easily access these and have space in their homes to bring in these 3/4 and bigger replica cabinets and multicades? Or is it really a fad where people get excited about something, especially during the pandemic, buy a bunch of these cabinets, and afterwards they're like, oh, what the hell was I doing? And the whole hobby just kind of disappears. So that's what we're going to ask. And I know this is everybody's favorite part of the night. When I throw a poll up in the chat, this is going to be the first one we put up. Yes, Garage Gamer, you know what was happening. And I know I'm the loudest typer in the world. You're going to have to apologize for me. So here we go, guys. Here's the poll question. Is home arcade a trend or a fad? I'm going to justify my point, or really my line of thinking, but I want to get your guys' opinions too and hear what you guys think. Rody8105 says it's FOMO addiction. Yeah, you're not wrong. Do you guys think these will be collectible in the future? Geez, I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not. Jamie Loken knows. I mashed the keyboard. Jason Watson said Mike loves to ride the pole. You're not wrong, brother. It's a trad. Yes, that is Morse code. Send help. Mad Ash for Gaming. I had to get a second house to hide all my arcade stuff from my wife. Are you also CT Jason? It's not a fad. Arcades have been around for decades. Select few people had cabs in their home. Now with the pricing and size, it's accessible for more people. It's here to stay, Nick Gamble says. Interesting. In some respect, it's going to depend on the companies putting them out as to whether or not they can keep up with it and make it a trend. That's a funny point too. Good point. Sorry, not a funny point. Console Fanboy says, love the show. Sup, Michael. If anybody didn't see it earlier, Console Fanboy put out this funny video. Basically, it's a skit about Arcade1Up in the year, 2028? New releases? It was actually pretty humorous. Fad, due to no need titles and pricing. Okay. Fad, trend, it's an addiction, right, Zohar? It is an addiction. All right, so I like the beard. You should grow it out. Oh my God, it's so big at this point, Jeff. I need a haircut. That's why I've got my hat on, and I need a beard trim, but I've just been too busy to actually get out to the barber to get it done. Here to stay, but there are a lot of areas where they need to improve and expand. It's a trend as long as Walmart wants it to be. And I'm so happy that you actually brought that up, because you're 100% right. The reason that we have all this stuff in our house today, the only reason, realistically, if you don't know the story, is because of Walmart. Because Walmart came up with the idea, this is what I've heard, and I don't know if anybody else has ever heard the story, that Walmart came up with the idea that they wanted someone to build a Pac-Man arcade cabinet for home consumption. And they reached out to a couple companies, but only one company took the bid and decided to do that, and that was Tastemakers, and hence the birth of Arcade1Up. That's what I heard. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but because of that, we got, it wasn't the very first cab that came out, but this was originally supposed to be a Walmart exclusive. But there's our buddy Conflicts, who you might have remembered recently got the NFL Blitz cab. I don't know if this was a review unit or not, but this is all the way back when Arcade1Up first came out. Conflicts actually reviewed the very first Walmart exclusive Pac-Man cabinet. So this is the one that started it all. Walmart asked for a company to go out and design a 3/4 scale Pac-Man cabinet. Tastemakers stepped forward, from what I hear, outbidding some other companies, or, taking up the interest where other companies let it down, and decided to make these cabinets, and the rest is kind of history. Yeah, there it is. Now I gotta get this off screen. So we'll go back to the chillin' chat, and I didn't discover Arcade1Up until February 2022, Music Mike says. I gotta get you back up on the screen, Music Mike. Just 1 second here. Aye. Trying to get the chat back up. That's a giant Gen 1 cabinet missing its deck protector. Highly collectible. Oh, whose house arcades are a fad? Like, we know about the hobby. I'm not talking about arcade collecting. Obviously, arcade collecting has been going on for years. It was a niche hobby before, with a very high, I don't know what the right term is, high learning curve to get into the collection, because not only did you have to have the money, space, and availability, you also had to take the risk of taking in these cabinets, learning how to fix them, or knowing someone that can fix them. So there was a high ceiling in order to get into the hobby, whereas Arcade1Up came along and made it a relatively simple ceiling. You could just go buy one of these 3/4 scale cabinets. Now, they weren't amazing off the hop. I remember I bought my first cabinet, Street Fighter, in 2018. I actually bought it right at my God, it was the first Black Friday that Arcade1Up were available. They were originally, I think, $3.99 here in Canada, and then for Black Friday they went down to either $3.49 or $3.29. I picked up my Street Fighter cabinet and I said, I'm good. I'm only going to buy one cabinet. That's it. That's the level of interest I had. It was just a curiosity. I always wanted to have an arcade cabinet in my house. Arcade1Up allowed me to buy the little one. I didn't even buy a riser. It looked so stupid in the corner of my room. I had to sit down on a chair to play it. I kind of hated it at first. I was like, I've wasted my money. But then something magical happened. Arcade1Up, they got their foot in the door. They started making more products. So they made the second wave with Final Fight and Mortal Kombat, and I was like, oh man, Mortal Kombat would be pretty badass. I would definitely like to get one of those. And then the real hook took off in Wave 3 when they made Star Wars and, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I knew I wanted to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I saved up. Everybody gave me money for my birthday. I pre-ordered the cabinet. It came in from EB Games here in Canada. And once that Turtles cab went up and I put it next to my Street Fighter cab and I had two, that's when it took off and I got hooked. I started watching all these other YouTube channels, not necessarily just YouTubers. Like originally I just watched RGT85. That's where only way I'd see Arcade1Up type products reviewed. And I'd also watch like 8-Bit Eric did some Arcade1Up reviews in the beginning. But after that point, when I got interested and I decided I was going to get Mortal Kombat and others, that's when I started watching other people in this community. And you remember back then, there wasn't as many content creators as there are now. There was the big ones we all knew about, Retro Ralph, Cool Toy, Console Kits had blown up when he made that Star Wars video that got like 100,000 views. P-Dubs had started, and there were a couple other people. I started watching all them, and I was lucky enough where I was already doing YouTube, and I developed a little bit of a following from my NES stuff that I could start talking about this stuff, and people were very welcoming and opened me into the community with open arms, many of which regret that probably nowadays, but I was there. Walmart filled the landfills of America with Pac-Man. Yeah, I can't imagine there's too many people with the original Pac-Man still, but a lot of people love it. They stand by it. I don't know. Sterling Hall with a $5 super sticker. Thank you very much for the super chat, my man. I appreciate it very much. The pandemic definitely helped home arcade gain grounds, but I believe and hoping that it is here to stay. Me too, brother. Oh, sorry. I will... oh, you can't see. I'm sorry. I can't hide it on the screen, but I just want to leave it up. So it's been up for 7 minutes now with 125 votes, and 65% of you are saying that it is... See, I only got the option to end poll, and I didn't really want to do that yet, so I'm sorry, but damn it, I hate that it comes up like this. I'm sorry, guys. So I'll end it. I'll have to. Is it a trend or a fad? 65%, 127 votes are saying it's a trend. We will end the poll there so we can get the comments back up so people aren't disappointed. So there it goes. I definitely blame Retro Ralph for my home arcade addiction. I blame every single person that made a video because it wasn't just one content creator to the other. I pretty much just scoped out anything. I would go to my browser and just type in Arcade1Up and watch whatever I could find. I became engrossed with it. But there were other stuff too that were out there, other products that kind of shot out for this. Like one of the other companies, the rumor is, that had the opportunity to build that first Pac-Man cabinet was in fact AtGames. And then AtGames produced the machine you see behind me, the AtGames Legends Ultimate. Now, I couldn't get into this very early on because if you guys have watched me for a while, this goddamn cabinet wasn't available in Canada, and I literally fought with AtGames to make it available in Canada. I don't understand all the trials and tribulations of getting it here in Canada for purchase, but eventually it was actually the Buy Stuff store that made it possible, believe it or not, if you guys don't know the story. What had happened, in order for them to get it in, there had to be an initial small shipment, and no one was willing to take that in originally, but the Buy Stuff store took this in and made it possible for AtGames to be sold in Canada. So for a lot of people that were looking at the Arcade1Up product and they were interested in that, but then they saw the AtGames and they saw the ability for it to be a multi-cave where you could bring your own games. That seemed a lot more appealing for people who didn't want to buy cabinet after cabinet after cabinet. So a ton of people jumped on the AtGames bandwagon and picked up the Legends Ultimate. I got it myself. Very impressive. The screen is good. The controls are excellent. You can bring your games. All super awesome. And then last but not least, Jang Wook-shin and the team from iArcade kind of came out of nowhere with this absolutely bizarre concept and absolutely crazy looking machine that they showed off at CES that had like Street Fighter art on the control panel. I don't know if that was the CES one, but this weird white design and space art, it was just bananas. So anyways, iArcade comes out of nowhere. They release this take on it where it's going to be this premium arcade cabinet that can play more than just classic arcade games, but can also play modern games, which I thought, who the hell wants that? I ended up getting a cabinet here in Canada, only one of two. AtGames needs to release their stuff outside of North America. You are preaching to the choir, man. I don't know what the hell is the problem. They absolutely should be able to get their stuff out of North America. Go Jays! Go Guardians! The Guardians of the Galaxy. Even though I'm Canadian, I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan. I grew up loving Major League. That's my team. So iArcade came out of nowhere. They put their console out, even though I thought it was crazy. I got my hands on it, and I was listening to nostalgia, listening to what other people said, and all of a sudden, it just made sense. It made sense talking about these modern games. It was fun. The store model of picking things up, which is crazy enough. A lot of people, that's what they want from Arcade1Up. They want a good-looking multicade from Arcade1Up with licenses they can add to it. And Arcade1Up doesn't have that model. They're never going to have that model. That's the model iArcade has. So the model people want from Arcade1Up is what iArcade has. Is that the right model? I don't know. But those are the three big ones. Now, Chris Zeke brought up a really, really good comment there a couple minutes ago. I bought over 30 cabs, Arcade1Up, MVSX, and iArcade. If this is a fad, I'm going to feel like an idiot. Me too, Chris. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is Chris bought an MVSX, and I didn't include that in the conversation because right now we don't know if they're ever going to come out with another cabinet. We saw a small... oh God, what's the name of the company that makes Androdunos? But we saw a small cab with that, Visco Games, I think it is. But really, it looks like the MVSX might be a one and done. It's an awesome piece of equipment, awesome machine, but we don't know if they're going to continue operating, or we don't know if they can even make any more MVSXs if they're still in production. So I just want to throw that out there. I also saw my buddy Kelsel's Arcade, which I haven't seen on the show in a while. I want to see if I can get his comment up here. I just sold my iArcade and AtGames, by the way. Made room for Blitz and MVC2. Only problem was how little I got back for iArcade and AtGames. Had to take a loss. Rob actually just sold my original iArcade, the first one, where I got the gold edition. I sold that, and I didn't sell it for a lot of money, but I did sell it to somebody that was super interested in it. He didn't really understand it at first. I actually had to go back down after I dropped it off to set it up and get his account up and get the games working, but I didn't sell it for as much as I felt I should have, but, at least it went to somebody who's going to enjoy it. AtGames is great for pinball. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. No audio on my TV, but no issues on my phone. Weird. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Pitbull, what's happening, brother? Long time no see on the show. Thank you so much for being here, man. Well, none of these are going to go up in value. Let's be honest. Arcade1Up, iArcade, AtGames. I've never once sold a cab at a profit. I don't think that exists. Like, maybe there's some people out there. I remember Star Wars, they were saying, ooh, Star Wars, that's a cab that's hard to get. You might be able to sell it at a profit. I wouldn't hold your breath at these ever becoming collectible in that nature. I think that these are something that, you just get. And then when you need to get rid of them, you're going to sell them at somewhat of a discount to move them. That's the truth. At least that's the way it works here. Might be different in other places. So that's kind of the scope of how this whole thing got created and where we are. Of course, we all know the big thing that happened, which I talked about earlier, was the pandemic. And once the pandemic happened, people were spending a lot less money on going out in public, doing things, a lot less dinners, a lot less outside shopping, a lot less vacationing. And people wanted to make their home more entertaining and a vacation space. And God bless all these home arcade companies. God bless all these home arcade companies, because what they did was they gave us something to spend our money on. We didn't have to go out to a store to get them. We could literally order from their websites, order from other retailers, and get this shit delivered to our home. It's IKEA furniture, build it up, and then we have entertainment. We have an arcade in our home that we can play with, and that absolutely exploded the hobby. During that point, we saw Arcade1Up jump from 1 million to 2 million sales. We saw iArcade finally launch, and that start to go nuts, and AtGames continue its excellent pull. But the question is, now I want to ask, is this a trend or is this a fad? And I'll give you some weird proof that I think interest is kind of waning in this hobby. And you're going to say, what? It can't wane, but it might be waning just a little bit. So what I want to show you guys is there's actually a video here from a good-looking fellow with short hair, and he certainly doesn't have short hair anymore. But this is our buddy Cool Toy, and a couple years ago, Cool Toy made this video all about the petition for Arcade1Up to make a Dragon's Lair cab. Do you guys remember this? Arcade1Up, please make a Dragon's Lair cab. And of course they did. I just got it myself. So Arcade1Up, Dragon's Lair cab. So that original petition that they put up on change.org got 2,908 signatures. We, the people of Arcadia, implore the fine folks at Arcade1Up to design, manufacture, and three-quarter scale cabinet featuring the exploits of one Dirk the Daring and, if possible, an ace of space named Dexter. So this is the original petition, and you can see now that it has 2,908 votes, almost 3,000. So obviously Arcade1Up heard it loud and clear. We heard David McIntosh say it in one of the CES interviews where he said, hey guys, we heard you loud and clear. Unfortunately, the demand has made it more difficult for us now because the company that we're buying it from knows we want it, so it's kind of made it a little bit more pricey to get it. So we go all the way there from, the beginning of Arcade1Up and the height of Arcade1Up back to when Cool Toy still had short hair and not the glorious mane that he walks around with today. And we move to a petition that should have been, my God, so much more successful. It's one of the most iconic arcade games of all time. I know a lot of you people in the community, you want those 90s games, but if you talk about arcade history and the most recognizable name brand arcade games, how in God's name has Arcade1Up not made a Q*bert cabinet? If you are a home arcade company making recreation home arcades and you don't think you can sell Q*bert, you might as well close up shop. But someone put out a Q*bert petition, Seth Lacey, that we all know about. The petition is closed, and it only ended up with 834 supporters. Now I ask the question, what's a more exciting game? Is it Dragon's Lair or is it Q*bert? What's more reminiscent with iconic arcade games? I don't know what the answer for that is. That is all up to you. But how in God's name does Dragon's Lair get 2,908 signatures to make for Arcade1Up to make a Dragon's Lair cab, but Q*bert only gets 834. Now, some people are going to be funny and say it's because Q*bert sucks. Q*bert does not suck. Q*bert is iconic, but I think that the reason why these two petitions got such a different amount of votes was the time period. Q*bert, we're right now in, I don't even know if you would call it maybe the cash cow stage of Arcade1Up, where maybe they're not growing anymore. Maybe now they're just making money, and that money could be used to fund another project. I don't know really how it works. They're a startup, so I don't think that they're a cash cow. So maybe that's why. It's such a weird thing to me. And you guys might remember that during that period, there were other petitions made for other games like Afterburner, other shit as well. And those petitions couldn't get off the ground either. So what's going on? Is it the fact that Arcade1Up, just people aren't interested anymore? Or was it the actual games? I don't know. Jason M says they didn't have the same level of promotion for it. Maybe that's what it is. There was no Cool Toy. Cool Toy never got behind the Q*bert petition. Maybe if Cool Toy got behind it, we'd have a 3,000 signature petition for for Q*bert now. Like I said, unless they can develop the space into something new, homebrew, new AAA titles, this trend will end up being a fad. They need to make other shit. I love that game. I don't know if other shit is something. Agree with Jason M. Console Kit says, what did Jason M. say? Didn't even have the same level of promotion, not even remotely. Console Kit says it's the promotion which kept it down. What's Up says, if I was serious about my home arcade, I would absolutely have to have Q*bert. Does the C on your hat stand for cool? No, it most certainly doesn't. It stands for, I just got this. I grew up my whole life as a Cleveland fan because of the movie Major League, and just got the new hat there the other day for the Guardians. So that's what that is. Love Q*bert. I would be a day one purchase for me, free Q*bert. Q*bert, did you say, look in your Facebook PM? Oh, here we go. Pitbull's definitely got a real one. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. All right, so very quickly, I'm going to look in my Facebook PM. Here it is. Just a second, guys. Sorry. Oh, look at that. Oh, Pitbull, I'm jealous. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. Major League is my favorite movie of all time. One of mine, too. Marbles. Big marbles. That's Major League, too. I think Q*bert will eventually come. I mean, I know Arcade1Up has the license. Sean D said it before. So, I mean, they could do it. It's just the fear of retailers not being able to pick it up, and can they get their direct consumer off the market? So, yeah, there we go. So that's my reasoning on it. And also, if you take a look at the releases this year compared to other years, the releases have slowed down significantly. I mean, the year that the pandemic hit, they had a lot. But the year after that, I mean, they absolutely flooded the market. We had, 12, 13 different cabinets came out, the inclusion of the Legacy line. You move forward to this year, we've got the Legacy line, and then that was it. We've got Marvel vs. Capcom 2, we've got NFL Blitz Legends, and we got Dragon's Lair, which is a cabinet that should have came out years ago. Other than that, that's it. You got Yoga Flame, and that's really a Capcom Legacy cabinet as well. The other Legacy cabinets, we got some XLs, and it looks like that's kind of the direction Arcade1Up's going to be moving forward with. They're going to be slowing down on the releases, and I also question what's left to release sometimes. I mean, I know there's tons of arcade history, and people could say, oh, there's millions of games to come out, but you got to look at it. Arcade1Up is nervous about releasing a Q*bert cabinet. So all those other games that you say they could release, if there's not that kind of interest in Q*bert, what's left that there's a big lot of interest in? I find it difficult. I don't know where it's going to go with the Arcade1Up side. And now, this is probably going to surprise you. Oh, Jamie Loken, you have no idea. I think we still will get classic 80s games, but they're going to be few and far between. We might get one a year that's going to come in the form of a direct-to-consumer purchase. That's my guess. Q*bert is like Tron, not a great game, but still iconic in arcade history. I thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate the opinion. I don't know. Q*bert is an acquired taste for some people, but it is iconic. Cab shape, look, and man, if they can put that knocker in there. Charlie Chuck knows what I'm talking about. Q*bert was huge. It's a no-brainer. I mean, think about Q*bert in just physical media. Q*bert's involvement in the Pixels movie. I mean, if they ever do anything with arcade, one of the first things they do is show Q*bert. JR says Q*bert and Tron are great games. I definitely agree with that. Scott Lee says Star Wars. Oh, I forgot to mention Star Wars. Yeah. So we are getting another re-release possibly this year before the end of the year with a Star Wars re-release. So I hope that happens. Hopefully it does. Let's see. Yes, Sterling, the number one on the leaderboard for Tron, loves Tron. We all know that. Score Chasers have best replay in my thoughts. Wouldn't mind more 80s cab. WWF WrestleFest. Oh man, I would love it, but they would have to change so much to make it happen. I don't know how people would feel about what WrestleFest was. Like if you didn't have certain characters, how would you feel? Like if you didn't have, obviously we know about Demolition and the concussion lawsuit. I don't know with Vince out if they can change something about that. Maybe. Console fanboy, get out of here with that garbage. Smash TV cab. Robotron or bust. Gottlieb is more than just Q*bert, have Mad Planets and working on a crawling reactor. I know Mad Planets, Pitbull. I'm not that familiar with. I know Krull. I'm not that familiar with Reactor. I know Mad Planets well. I know Krull, but Tyler V, keep 80s cabs except Star Wars to limited runs. I don't know about that. I appreciate the super chat, Tyler V, but for me, like when I think of home arcade companies, and I've said this a million times, what I want and what Arcade1Up making is sometimes a divergent path, because Arcade1Up, you know, they've got to make money, they've got to try to make the masses, and they've got to try to bring in new fans, which is the direction we're going to go in a second. But outside of that, I want them to be more historic, and I think that nostalgia is where really the key to their success lies. So I want them to be more like Numbskull, Quarter Arcades, and Replicade, making these really cool replications of classic arcade cabinets. Not in the 3/4 scale anymore. I want them all to be XL or Pro now. But I want those classic recreations of cabinets, and you know, I understand where they're going, and that's the interesting thing. So I just want to bring this up. I should have had it up already, but I apologize. But you'll take a look at the direction they went this year with the new cabs that they've got coming out. So I want to bring this up on screen and just show you guys this. So if you look at the new cabs they got coming out this year, the real new ones, you've got NFL Blitz and you've got Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And then you've got this monstrosity that looks like Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs, which is the Capcom Legacy. And I know why they're doing these cabs. And it's one of the ways to avoid the whole fad piece, because I guess in their mind, the only way to avoid becoming a fad product, or, you know, making sure it's a trend or a brand name that's going to be a household name, is to expand your market. And who's buying Arcade1Up cabs right now? I'm sure that there's children and younger people that really love it, but I would guess that the core demographic for home arcade is guys like me, you know, with a little bit more gray on their face and in their hair than they really should have at this point. So I think the demographic is probably 35 to 60. That's the demographic buying. But they know that the expendable income is in the younger generation, you know, the 20s to 40s, somewhere in that area. So they've got to find new products to expand interest in the brand. And I think that's what they've done here, and that's what they're trying to focus on. You get a cabinet like NFL Blitz, you're bringing in the NFL licensing. They didn't use the original arcade art, but, you know, there it is. And that's a more modern game, late 90s. And they're really focused on making sure they have high-definition graphics. We all would have been fine with just, you know, make it as good as the arcade. That would have been it. But they wanted to go high-def. They wanted to go 60 frames per second. Cool to them. I think they're trying to, you know, get newer people involved in the hobby, especially with later arcade games. And then Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Of course, younger people are going to remember this. This is another late 90s arcade release. It's still very big in Evo. It was a big accomplishment. Both of these cabinets and the artwork on the side, and even the artwork on the side of the Yoga Flame, are designed to attract a younger audience and really grow the brand and expand it. That's how you avoid your product being a fad and make sure that it's being a trend, and that's the direction they're going in. It sucks because I want to see Robotron, I want to see Q*bert, I want to see Mad Planets, I want to see Wacko, I want to see crazy shit from Arcade1Up, and maybe we'll get there, maybe we'll get back to a point where they can make more cabs and take more risks. That's what I'm hoping to, but right now it seems like this is the direction they're kind of moving in, and maybe this is what people wanted. Maybe I'm off base, and that's it. But I want to get back, and I want to talk about the other products. Oh my God, Merrick 1915. Oh, you didn't have to do that, man. Let me bring up the chat here and bring this down. Massive super chat, brother. First time making a live chat. Keep up the great content. Still think it's a fad. I wish it wasn't the case. The only trend would be re-releasing the true classics. Pac-Man. Give me Rastan. Thank you so much for the giant super chat. $20 super chat. You didn't have to do that, Mark. Thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate it. I don't know about Rastan. Rastan Cab. I actually... If I go back, I'd have to say, I think I saw a real Rastan cab one time. I went down in this guy's basement. Story's not starting out great, but I went down in this local, he was a former operator, and he had a couple cabs left down there, and I think Rastan might have been one of the real cabs he still had down there. I'll have to go back and take a look and confirm that, but thank you very much for the giant super chat. It's really appreciated, brother. Yes for Rastan. There we go. Ghosts and Goblins, Whack-A-Mole, Two-Screen Punch-Out. Hey, I know Steps Gaming Yoga Flame was your fave, but my desire to see them try to recreate classic arcade cabinets won't let me Let me love it. I'm sorry. I know you like the games list, and honestly, the build of the cabinet is one of the best they've ever done, so I get it. Was there lotion in that basement? It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. No, there wasn't lotion. There was like 8 arcade games, one of which was a fully operable Bubbles, which I should have bought for $200, and I hate that I didn't get it. And then there was like 185 jukeboxes, just broken jukeboxes. So anyways, guys, that's where it's going. But I wanted to talk about the other products, and here's what's interesting. Even though I think Arcade1Up is, I would say we're at a point now, 4 years, it's trend. It's kind of, maybe interest is waning a little bit, but maybe interest is waning from our demographic and moving to a new demographic that maybe aren't as connected on the Facebook and community side. But what's interesting is you'll see a lot of interest on the Facebook and community side for AtGames. Slowed down quite a bit because they're not coming out with a bunch of announcements. But here's the interesting thing. For the Legends Ultimate, hold on, I got a super chat. Tyler V, 199. Thank you very much, Tyler V. Whack-a-mole will be legit. Whoever said that equals genius. It'd be hard to do a whack-a-mole. I've thought about making like some of these other things if you could do them virtually. Like I always wanted to see an ice-cold beer virtually. That'd be funny. Papa Brett has a new channel cooking Swedish food. I'll have to check that out. But I want to talk about the Legends Ultimate, and here's the funny thing, like a lot of people, they'll shit on the Legends Ultimate, they'll say that it's not as good as the other stuff and everything like that, but there's always going to be an interest for some people to have a multicade that you can whack as many games as you want on it. Rates Retrocade, $6.99 Super Chat, thank you very much. Arcade1Up should tour concept cabs and pop-up arcades to see if they can gauge interest in titles. I think that's an interesting idea. I hope that they realize we're the people that they're going to get the most money from, and as long as they keep engaging us, making stuff we'll probably buy it, so maybe get some feedback from us. But thank you very much for the super chat. So, going back to the AtGames Legends Ultimate, we have this home arcade that came out in this point. Basically, there's a huge following for it. I don't know what the user base is. I would assume that the user base somewhere to 10 to 20,000 units that are out there connected, maybe more. And you've got people that absolutely love this machine. It does everything they want. Of course, they don't like the look of it. It doesn't have the classic arcade art. It's not recreating a classic cab. But there is always an interest in having something that you can just put as many games as you want on, and the Legends Ultimate does that. Plus, it's future-proofed. It can do other stuff. So even after this trend, fad, whatever it is, goes away, if AtGames can survive this period in this competition, which I think they can, I mean, they're a huge company, they got tons of money, I think the AtGames Legends Ultimate is a product that has staying power because people are always just going to want this multicade that you can throw a bunch of games on. Like, it's a weird concept, but it's the one we don't talk about the most now on all these news channels because there's not a lot of stuff coming out for it. But it's the one that's probably going to be here the most in the end, the one that people will hang on to. Even though they don't like the look of it compared to the other cabs, it just makes so much sense. Of course, it's if you're okay with, ROMs and piracy. My arcade is my escape. It brings back my childhood to the early 80s, and I thank Arcade1Up for that, making it possible to bring into my home. Great point, Music Mike. Thank you very much for the super chat, brother. Pitbull, you didn't have to do that. Look on your Facebook again. All right, I'll open my Facebook back up, Pitbull. We'll have another look here. Are you going to try to make me jealous again? Oh! See, Pitbull's really making me jealous now. I got to share the screen here for a second. Look at that. Robotron. He wrote a comment on my picture when I was in Galloping Ghost. He was like, I bet you suck at it. I do suck at it, Pitbull. I did okay. But I definitely got a lot of work to do. I'm so jealous of that. That is absolutely gorgeous, man. I love Robotron. That's awesome. Awesome. Anyways, missing some other chats. I got to get back. Thank you for the super chat, Pitbull. Just popping down. Vic Vicious, will 1UP ever release MK2, MK3, and MK4 as matching cab designs like the MK30th Midway cab? I have a very strong feeling next year we'll get another Evergreen Midway Legacy release with a Mortal Kombat art on it. More than likely, it's going to be Mortal Kombat 2 again in that new form factor, hopefully. And you got to realize down the line, we're probably getting a Mortal Kombat Pro cabinet. So I do think there's more Mortal Kombat releases coming. I think as long as Arcade1Up through Walmart are releasing Midway Legacy cabinets, they're going to be branded as Mortal Kombat. We've also got a $13.99 super chat. Frankie Bell, hey Mike, bought Atari Legacy this week and control deck already broken. Apparently 1UP never fixed the issue and keeps sending parts. What's your experience with it? Super pissed about it. I've been very fortunate. I haven't had any issue with my Atari Legacy, but you're not the first person that's told me about it. Unfortunately, Arcade1Up's customer service, I mean, they're not the big operation that some other customer service groups are. Like, you know, if you call into... for example, I used to work in a call center. I was a manager in a call center that did customer support for both Sprint and T-Mobile. And I mean, if you call into T-Mobile, you're getting somebody that is not necessarily an engineer for the company, but you're getting somebody there with a month's training that also has a knowledge management system in front of them that all they have to do is type in keywords from your issue and a bunch of solutions that will pop up and a guided tour to help you get through it. Arcade1Up, from what I understand, doesn't have that. So basically when you call into customer support, they scramble and try to fix it. And a lot of times they're asking questions. They're trying piecemeal to get it done because they don't really have all the answers on how to fix it. So it's very unfortunate. You can keep trying. They're really trying hard with the customer support. So it might take a while, but they'll keep sending out parts until they get your issue fixed. The other option is to say, screw them, and talk to Glenn's Retro Show and get some of his arcade accessories put in your machine. They're really good. They work super well. You might be happier with that experience itself. So it's up to you, but I will tell you, if you keep bugging Arcade1Up, it may take a while, but they'll get you sorted out. Thank you very much for the super chat, and I'm sorry that happened to you, brother. Oh yeah, like it's one of those things. It's like the Tron stick. The Tron stick either breaks or it doesn't break. There seems to be like some kind of design flaw where they just never built the steel piece inside up high enough, so there's too much pressure. I think it's called the fulcrum point, and it just cracks off. So interesting. Yeah, what's up? I know too, but a lot of it comes down to the way their quality customer support works, and I'm not justifying this, but like where they outsource so much, there's very little in-house quality control, so they have to rely on the third parties. That doesn't give them an excuse. I mean, they should always try to do stuff in-house, so I don't know. I wish it didn't have to happen either. Glenn's stuff is great. I can fully agree with that. I've had his trackball in my Centipede cab, which is amazing, super highly sensitive. And then also I've had his Star Wars flight yoke. I also had one of his Tron sticks that I had in my Legends Ultimate, and that was really good too. Ooh, Glenn may have a new Tron stick coming very soon. I gotta talk to Glenn. I would 100% be down for that. Hey, Kings of Cobra, and thank you, Mike B, for all your great work. Your review on the AtGames pinball is heavily influencing me. Buy one, we need Donkey Kong. Thank you very much. I love my AtGames pinball there in the background. I won't lie to you, one of the key pieces of it for me, the AtGames side is great, but I love using it as a front end. This year, I actually purchased an additional PC that is just for my AtGames Legends pinball. I've got VPX on it, all my Pinball FX3, and I play it through my Pinball Legends pinball, and it's like my favorite thing in my house. Even when I get a real pinball table, eventually, if I can sell my stuff and get this stuff moving, I will still keep my Legends pinball. VPin will never replace real pinball, but the experience on that is just great. You won't be disappointed with a Legends pinball, especially if you're in the US and you see some of the sales going on right now at Sam's Clubs, where you can go pick them up somewhere, just loading them off for $2.99 right now. If you can get that deal, holy shit, jump on it. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Think we'll ever see a Pro or XL 1UP pinball? No, I don't think we will. In fact, I'm not 100% sure we'll ever see another Arcade1Up pinball come out again. The problem is, realistically, the prices went up. Whatever the manufacturing prices were, whether you want to debate whether it's inflation or Arcade1Up marking up the prices, their prices went up, and they no longer feel that it's economically viable to make that pinball cabinet. When they originally wanted to make the pinball cabinet, they wanted to make it at that $4.99 to $5.99 price point, and I don't think parts and pieces are ever going to come back down to that price point again, and I don't think Arcade1Up has confidence in pinball as it is at the price point they've got to sell it at right now. So I don't think we're going to get another pinball machine. And you know what's even worse is I don't think we'll get a pinball machine with necessary upgrades. Definitely should have Wi-Fi. You should be able to challenge other people in the leaderboards, and it should have better performance than what it did, but it is what it is. So is Simpsons $1.99 a buy? Yeah, I mean, to me, that seems like a pretty obvious risk-free purchase for $200. If Arcades1Ups were $200, I'd have 9 rooms full of them right now. That's a really good price. Grab it at $9, and what I'm seeing right now is people are putting Turtles on it. I don't know if they're trying to put X-Men on it as well, but people have got these soft-modded. You can hack Simpsons to play TMNT. They say it's very easy. That's what's going around right now. You can hack it to do that. Anyways, getting back to, hey, Goofyfoot, what's happening, brother? Getting back to our main topic, and I apologize for getting off pace with that. Is this a fad or a trend? I don't know, guys. That's up to you. The question is, how long are these things going to last? It depends. Arcade1Up has an opportunity to go out there. I like what they're doing with the XL cabs. We're going to see re-releases of the XL cabs, and maybe there's enough interest for them to keep using the titles they already have, re-releasing them in XL and Pro, and there's enough interest from the home arcade community. People are going to rebuy those and keep the business model going. What's happening, P-dubs? Or maybe there is enough left in the arcade roadmap for them to keep coming out with some kind of new designs for arcade cabinets and keep people buying them. I'm not sure. This is all based on nostalgia. Is nostalgia enough to keep the company going long term? And does the company want to go long term? Does Arcade1Up see they're out being bought out by somebody else? Maybe they just, they're a startup that is looking to get bought out at the right price, and maybe that's the end of the road, or maybe another company takes them over and they become even bigger. I don't know. I have no idea. Mike, ever check out the Rec Room World 49-inch 4K digital pinballs? They look pretty sick. Sean, no, I haven't, but I'll definitely take a look at that 100%. Then you look at AtGames, which I talked about. I think AtGames, they've got a bunch of money. They can keep making these cabinets, have them out in retailers. And I think if they can stave off the major interest in the other companies, they've got a product there that can be lasting. It works really well. It's future-proof. They're constantly doing updates for it. I think they gaffed on the whole online, what's it called? What's the online called? I can't even remember now. The online portion of it with the cloud gaming, but maybe there's a future there too eventually. Maybe one day if Arcade1Up disappears, they lose some of the license they have, maybe AtGames has an opportunity to come in, scoop up some of these licenses, and then put them on their cloud gaming system. And I can't remember the name of it now for the life of me. I can't believe I forgot that. And then you've got iiRcade, which really it's going to be telling in the next couple of years where iiRcade is. They've got a great machine. They've got a great company. They are fantastic people, and they've got a good mission, good fans. I think the core fan base will help, but they've got to grow. And to do that, they've got to get new licenses. Not necessarily, AAA arcade licenses from the past, but they've really got to focus on the console side of what they're doing and pick up some new stuff. So we'll see. We will see. ArcadeNet, that's what it's called. So, that's where this lies. A lot of people believe that this hobby ends and dies with Arcade1Up, and that's where the interest is. If Arcade1Up goes away, does home arcade die? I don't necessarily think so. I think these cabinets will bop around for years after the fact. People will have them as collectibles, curiosities, even after the companies go down, until they stop working. And I don't know what the life expectancy is for an arcade cabinet. That's my idea. But multicades and shit like that, it's always going to be around. Even if it's not Legends Ultimate, there were multicades before this with even people making them out of their homes and people making regular ones, other companies like Rec Room Basters. They're going to exist after this too. There will always be some kind of interest in having some kind of wacky multicade, but specifically having branded cabinets. Yeah, that's a Costco shirt. Kirkland. I'm going to be honest with you. Where is it? Console Kits. I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever I see like the stupidest shirts, I've got to buy it. So I was in Costco one day and I was like, who's going to buy a Kirkland signature shirt? This guy, that's who. I'm buying a Costco shirt. And then you move along to, I also bought a GameStop shirt. It's just, I was like, why are they selling merch? So I got a GameStop shirt too. And it's not because it's just unironic company shirts. Like if I could buy McDonald's shirts, I'd buy a McDonald's shirt. It's stupid. I know I need to buy stuff back box, but buy stuff back box costs like $500. So, just signed a four show contract with Costco for Chill and Chat. No, isn't Rec Room Masters dead? It is dead, but I think there's other companies still out there doing it. You never know if another company will step in the arena and put out another home arcade cabinet. I would love to see Evercade do it where the games are the cartridges. People wanted that too. Like there was an idea that you could come out with some kind of cartridge based, like a Neo Geo where you put in extra games. But we don't have Kirkland vodka here in Canada. They don't sell liquor at the store. Oh, guys. Oh, my God. So I got to... who's selling this? I get excited when stuff comes up. Let's see how much it is. $14,000. I could just buy a Godzilla Premium for that, but apparently someone here locally is selling a Munsters pinball, so I went in to check it out, but $14,000. I am just going to stick with Godzilla. In order to buy something locally, I have to get a steal of a deal to buy something secondhand. Goddamn pinball is so expensive, man. So anyways, guys, I want to hear your feedback. Please disco your relationship with Costco, including disclose your relationship with Costco. Jamie Loken, really interesting comment. And like, that's all I have on the Trender Fad cab. I don't know. Time will tell. For me, I think at this point, I think interest is waning. It's not as much as it used to be, especially during the pandemic. But I still think there's a lot of legs left in the whole home arcade space. Some more than others, so we'll see. But I want to go up to Jamie Loken's cabinet. We getting any surprise cabs before year end? I don't know 100% how this works, but someone told me that in order for something to sell before the holiday season, it had to be in before, it's either the end of October, October 10th, the end of October, or some date in November in order for them to actually make it to the stores for the holiday season. So if Arcade1Up is releasing another cab, watch the shipping data in the next little while and something would come in. I'm assuming that the only chance we have of a surprise cab is this rumored Star Wars re-release cabinet. That's the only one. I don't think that there's anything else out there in the ethers that stuff is coming up. I'm really surprised Time Crisis never materialized this year. I mean, we all saw it on the leaks that came from GameFly, but whatever happened, it just never happened. And maybe there's some kind of hold up with that. I originally thought it was because it was an XL cab and they were getting new screens. I'm led to believe right now it's not going to be an XL cab. It's just going to be another cab. So we'll have to see what gets released. But right now, I think our only hope at another cab this year is going to be the Star Wars re-release. What I'm looking forward to already, and I love this because I have no friggin' clue what next year's lineup is. I hate when I know, because then I can't do fun speculation videos and, get around with my friends and guess what's going to be coming out. We've got new cabs that are going to be coming out next year. CES is just around the horizon. Want to know if Arcade1Up will show up at CES in person, or if they're going to if they're going to be there for their own, one-up show, how they'll do it. I'm also interested to see, I kind of know where AtGames is going, but AtGames is moving in new directions now. They're bringing out arcade expansion packs for their console, so maybe there's new games coming to AtGames. Something for the Legends Ultimate people, new stuff on the horizon. And of course, we know we're getting Cat in the Hat Pinball, and hopefully some other big pinball surprises are coming as well. And then with iArcade, I think the next quarter is going to be a very interesting time, because it's going to make or break this company, what they do in the next couple of months to next year. We'll see what they can do, what titles they can bring to the platform. And I've said it a million times, I love their machine. I think they have one of the best machines, especially the Gold Edition, in the home arcade recreation space. Of course, not real cabinets, but it doesn't matter how good your console is. If you don't have the games to support it, it's going to be hard to stay alive. So hopefully they've got some good stuff coming up in the future. It's going to get some new people in there and make us all interested again. Sween Machine, what's up, Michael B? Thank you very much for joining Sween Machine. I'm hoping for a Robotron Smash TV cab, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm in such a predicament here now because my arcade and my overflow area and my office are all full, so I have no room for anything else. I'm at that point again. So I'm at the point if I'm going to add a new 3/4 scale cab, it has to be something that is an absolute home run in order for me to sell something in my arcade that I have right now that I'm very, very happy with, because I absolutely love my Burger Time machine, and I absolutely love Miss Pac-Man. And honestly, if anything else comes in at this point, it would have to be one of those machines that exit. So, I mean, you're going to have to be more interesting and better than Miss Pac-Man and Burger Time to get in there. And that's going to be a hard friggin' feat. Maybe my interest will wane on some of the newer stuff like Ridge Racer. I don't think so. Ridge Racer is actually really good. Or maybe my interest would have to wane on, something like Killer Instinct. But honestly, for 3/4, it would have to be something like Robotron in order for me to turf something that I've got there right now. I'm not just going to buy something for the sake of something coming out. My interest now lies more on the XL and Pro cabinets, and I think in order for me to move something out of my 3/4 space, it would have to be something really good comes out in an XL or Pro that would make my 3/4 scale redundant, if that makes sense. And P-Dub's Arcade Loft with my favorite comment. I want that arm wrestling machine we played at Galloping Ghost. That was so much fun. And that was one of the only games that the whole crew of us got together and played. So I love that. Thank you very much for bringing that up. I don't think we'll ever get an arm wrestling machine. And can you imagine how many Tron sticks broke? How many arms are going to break off from Arcade1Up's arm wrestling machine? Dump your Toyminator. Goofyfoot, I don't know if I told you this story, but a couple of weeks ago, I went up to this guy here locally, Michael Walsh, who had, I got bad news for you, Jamie Loken. Very bad news. Frogger is no longer in the possession of Michael B. Frogger is no longer with us. Frogger left last week. I ended up selling X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Frogger, and my 3/4 scale NBA Jam last week. You shut your mouth about that, P-Dubs. Where is it? Dump your Toyminator. So anyways, I wanted to tell this story, Goofyfoot. I went up to this guy, Michael Walsh's house to play his pinball, and he told me this story right around the same time that I bought Terminator 2 Arcade1Up. He was actually selling a Terminator 2 working real arcade cabinet, and I am so mad I didn't know about that, because I 100% would have bought his $800 Terminator 2 real arcade instead of the Arcade1Up Terminator 2 cabinet. 1000%. So I wish I knew that. I know, Jamie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I loved Frogger. I had so much fun with it, but at the end of the day, especially with the arcades with those weird shapes and stuff like that, the swan neck design, it had to go. It had to go. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to keep you too much longer than that. I just wanted to have a fun chat on that and kind of get your opinion. Of course, my opinion doesn't really matter. It's just throwing some information out there. I think that It could be a fad. A lot of people could see it that way. I think it has the possibility of definitely being a trend, definitely sticking around in the gaming scope. Multiple companies have that opportunity. Arcade1Up specifically, if they're careful and they follow a good path, and I think they could still run that nostalgia train for a long time. One of the points I wanted to make up was we've seen something similar to Arcade1Up recently, where companies started releasing these mini consoles. They became a big rage for a while. We had the NES Classic, and then we had the SNES Classic, and then Nintendo was like, anyways, we're out. But then other companies jumped in. We got a Sega Genesis Classic, and then we got Sega Genesis Mini, TurboGrafx 16 Mini, and then now we're getting the Sega Genesis Mini 2. And the question is, was that a trend or was that a fad? I feel the mini consoles are awesome. I still have all mine. I love them. But it's not something that even Nintendo saw a long term with. And these other companies know it's a production run and they're done type thing. So maybe that's a fad. And maybe that's where this is going to go as well. I'm not 100% sure. 49ers 14, Rams 6. Sorry if I spoiled it for anybody. Anyways, guys, it's 11:30. I've kept you here long enough. I do want to show you something I've been working on today. I have a new outro video I'm very excited about, so I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I had a bunch of fun talking about this stupid topic that I'm probably 100% wrong on. Hope you guys have a great night as well. This has been Chillin' Chat with Michael B. Now get ready for the new outro video.